Hello again, folks. This is Barry with Barry's 8-Track and Classic Car Radio Repair. And once in a while, I have a customer ask me, so what all do you do on a stock repair job? On my website, I explain pretty heavily what goes into a conversion job. But on a stock repair job, the customer really doesn't have too much way of knowing. So I thought I would use this video to not only demonstrate the repair of a unit sent in by Budget Auto Service Center in Lewiston, Michigan, but also kind of give you guys a little quick tour and a sneak preview of what I do on a stock repair job. The first thing I'll point out is very few radios am I going to be willing to do a stock repair on, and that's simply because of issues of parts availability, especially output transformers. There's no such thing as a new output transformer anymore. They disappeared from the market decades ago. I will not install used parts out of a junk unit to repair a customer's unit. If it can't be repaired with all new parts, then it has to be converted. So anyway, let's move on to a little view of first of all my bench, I guess, and then we'll zoom in on this unit, and I'll give you guys a little tour of what I do on a. This is a 1969 Chrysler unit. This is one of many variations of the same general unit style. All your chrome-faced units are either going to be a 68 or 69, at least to my knowledge and according to the manuals. And one very strong failure trend on this type of unit is the output transformers burn up. And so we'll zoom in on that, and I'll show you that the first thing I look at when I get this unit is that this is assuming a customer wants a standard stock repair job, is I look at these output transformers, and I'd say more than half of them you can see melted shellac dripping out of them. They're kind of a yellow, waxy looking material, and if there's one of the output transformers here, this is the driver transformer that goes right before it, and then of course on the other side we have the other output transformer. And a customer is welcome to open the unit and take a look at this, to see for himself before he sends it in. But a lot of these transformers have melted shellac dripping out of them, and that's a sign that they've overheated and that they're going to fail soon. So if these transformers have any shellac dripping out of them, right off the bat, we're going to do a conversion. The customer is not going to receive the original electronics back inside the radio, and we have to do a conversion. Alrighty, so that's we check for that. I replace all of the capacitors. Capacitors can be considered as a form of a battery. They're designed to hold the charge and release that charge, except unlike a battery, capacitors, build up a charge and release it in a matter of, like milliseconds or even microseconds. And so being, somewhat battery-like in composition, they eventually fail. So this particular audio board has 5 capacitors on it. I've replaced them all. And then on this general type of unit, this is the B9MC, and on this type of unit, a very common problem is that you can no longer move the volume control without the tuner also moving. There's a really strange linkage in this particular type of unit where the tuner linkage actually goes through one of the gears that controls the volume, and after a while the lubricant gets all gummed up and won't allow free movement anymore, and you cannot move the volume control without also moving the tuner. So that's another routine repair that I do on this type of unit, and as you can see, the tuner is now free, and the volume control can be moved without also removing the tuner. Okay, we've got our little dial amp. Of course, I replaced that. Incidentally, the repair on this tuner linkage and volume linkage, since very few people are doing 8-tracks anymore, there's not a lot of people who know how to fix this problem with the volume and tuner control. It is somewhat involved. It's a good 40-step process to fix it. It involves, pretty extensive disassembly of this area. Okay, so we've covered the caps, the old motor on all Ford, Chrysler, and AMC units. The old motor automatically comes out. This is the old motor, and this is the speed control board that went along with that motor. These motors have such a high failure rate these days that it's a compulsory part of the repair process. These motors always come out and they're replaced. We've got a new motor right there. You can see a new motor, new belt, and then there's the back of the new motor. And if you look really close, you can see the speed control board The new speed control board is one that I build by hand, and it turns the motor into an adjustable speed motor. The speed was not adjustable before, but now it is. If the speed should ever drift, the customer doesn't really have to send it back. They can just reach in there with a little screwdriver and adjust the speed if they really need to and want to. Okay, so I believe that covers pretty much all that's done with a stock repair job on this type of unit. Everything else is pretty reliable and is not going to fail for the most part. Especially the AM radio board in this model is extremely reliable and well designed, and I hardly ever see those go bad. So I pretty much leave the AM radio board alone. And that's pretty much it. The front panel came in very dull and pitted, and a little bit of fine steel wool took care of that. I don't do any rechroming at this time. I am looking into it, to the possibility. So I do clean up the cosmetics, you know, as well as can be done using household chemicals and fine steel wool. And I didn't do too bad of a job on this one. We restored some of the shine. So now let's go ahead and pop these covers on. Oh, one more thing I'll cover is, and this applies to every single 8-track that comes through here. And I just got to find the camera. If I can find the camera, looking for the overhead camera. Okay, that wasn't it. Let's try this one. Nope, let's try this one. Okay, now this camera box does play some tricks on me once in a while, so let's just try a couple of these numbers again here. Okay, there's our overhead camera. Now this is I also resurfaced the capstan in my sandblaster, and mine is the world's only shop that uses a sandblaster for capstan resurfacing. Some shops use steel wool or a wire wheel, but it doesn't do anything close to what's really needed. Now this is a capstan that has the visible wear on it, and when you look inside any 8-track player, you're going to see this little shiny 1/4-inch band, and that is from the abrasive tape material moving across it, and it wears that surface smooth. As you can see, the surrounding surface is kind of a matte finish, a little bit of a rough finish. That shiny band is not supposed to be there, and so when your 8-track player comes back, the capstan is going to have a newly restored surface. This is the entire surface that's been, this was the 1/4-inch shiny band, and now we have the entire tape contact surface is just been sandblasted and has that rough appearance to it, so it can pull the tape properly. Okay, so now let's go ahead and pop this unit back together real quick. I'll move a little farther away so you can see me do that. Big excitement there. And we're just going to pop these covers on real quick and run the unit through a quick final test, make sure everything works before we ship it back to the customer. And if you'll bear with me for just a couple minutes, this won't take long at all. Alright, just a couple of screws in here. And I won't even put them all in just yet. I'll put the rest of them in before I ship the unit. Right now we just want to put these covers in place so that nothing can get inside and short anything out. There we are. A couple of screws in that just to hold it in place. And we'll put her up on my cool little stand. We're going to run it through a quick final performance verification test to make sure everything works. And this also protects me if the customer decides to hook it up wrong and blows an output section. We know that it was working fine when it left the shop, because I'm going to prove that right now. So there's the unit pretty well reassembled. We're going to get my cool little stand up here. Alright, going to put our unit on our stand, plug in our antenna. Incidentally, the very reason I started making these videos was because I had some customers hook up their units incorrectly, blow things out, then they'd call me pretty angry, thinking that I had done something wrong and expecting it to be repaired for free. So needless to say, it was necessary to start providing proof that everything was working fine when it left the shop. We're just going to get a couple of speakers hooked up here. Now for this demonstration, I'm currently repairing the switching network to my rear speakers, which sound a little bit brighter than the front speakers. We're going to be using the front speakers for this test, which don't sound quite as bright as my rear speakers. So just so you know about that. And then again, this unit was not a conversion unit, and therefore it does not have my special hand-built tape head preamp, which sounds quite a bit brighter than the original. So compared to some of my other videos, you'll probably notice that the tape sounds a little dull. A new tape head, if required, is not included in the price. That's an extra $125 because they have become so rare that that's how much they cost these days. Okay, we're going to hook up our power and our ground, and now we are ready to test this puppy. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and zoom in on this unit a little bit better. There we are. Kind of line it up with the camera a little bit, back off just a touch. Okay, and we're also going to look at the output level meters and make sure that the balance control works properly. We're going to set it to about mid-balance right now. And on a thumb wheel unit, they can be kind of confusing. Just remember that up is what would normally be clockwise. Okay, turn it off. Now we're going to apply power to it. Looks like power is already applied, so let's go ahead and turn it on. And tune in the radio station.
Afternoon. The D-backs fall today to Milwaukee 9 to 5. Chat at 12:30 tomorrow on the Arizona Diamondbacks radio network.
So there's our radio, and let's bring our output level meters in the picture so we can make sure both speakers are working. Alrighty. We're going to move our balance control to the left, to the right, left, right, and center.
I'll tell you one thing, I had no idea.
Okay, now we're going to pop in a tape and make sure that works properly. Let's go ahead and go back to our unit. Make sure we have both speakers on the 8-track function. Switch tracks. Our tone control.
But you don't care, 'cause you already made up your mind you're gonna run away.
Now you might hear just a touch of distortion because I see that I've got my volume set a little bit higher than what my recording system is set up for. Distortion should be gone now.
You're taking away my reason for living. Roaming through the city, going nowhere.
Okay, now we're going to pull our tape out. Radio should come back. And there's our radio. Okay, so that's a pretty short and sweet test. This is just a basic stock repair job. No conversion and no virtual balance and fader test. So she's ready to go back to the customer, and I'm ready to say goodbye and get to the next job. This is Barry with Barry's 8-Track and Classic Car Radio Repair. Thank you to my friends at Budget Auto in Lewiston, Michigan for sending me the job. And if you have an 8-track, either for home or for car use, in need of service, you can reach me directly at 928-533-9666. I also do conversions on classic car AM or AM FM radios. I can add a lot more output power to them, add FM capability. On some Delco radios, I can even double the number of FM station presets that are available for you. So that's become a pretty popular little discovery that I made. And I can also add Bluetooth, USB, line input, and all that stuff. And incidentally, there's no extra charge to add a line input to any radio, but the customer does have to specifically request it. I don't just do it automatically because some customers want to keep their units as original as possible, and they'll scream at me if I put in a line input without their approval. So the customer does need to specifically request a line input. Thank you very much for watching and listening. This is Barry with Barry's 8-Track and Classic Car Radio Repair. Once again, my direct contact number is 928-533-9666. My very informative website is in the description below. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.
Having fun, driving my classic ride. Got a Mustang, but it's a '69. But she ain't sounding so fine. Driving this car, I can't hear the guitar, and all my tapes run slow too. Radio smoking, 8-track decks broken. What can I do? Send it to 8-Track Repair Center. 8-Track Repair Center. 8-Track Repair Center.com.